The little girl pointed a toy robot at the most dangerous man in Seoul and said something that stopped his heart. "I'm telling my daddy on you. He's the dragon, and he'll beat you up." Kang Jun-suk froze. His hand, halfway to grabbing Nia's arm, hovered in the air. He was the dragon. That was his underground title. The one whispered in fear throughout Korea's criminal underworld. The little girl glaring up at him had his eyes, the distinctive Kang family eyes that narrowed into sharp crescents when angry. Just like his were doing now. 5 years ago, Nia Carter took his father's money and disappeared without a word. 5 years of building an empire, of nursing hatred, of planning revenge. And now a child, his child, was threatening him with his own name, completely unaware she was facing the very monster she thought would save her. Folks, what happens in the next few minutes will change everything for this family. But before we dive deeper, if you're new here and love stories with unexpected twists that make you question everything, take a second to smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. 40 minutes earlier, Jun-suk sat in a rented sedan across the street from a yellow house with white trim in View Park, California. He checked his watch. 4:15 p.m. 5 years of searching. 5 years of rage building inside him like a pressure cooker. And now she was just 30 feet away, behind that front door. He didn't look like a crime boss today. No bodyguards. No flash. Just dark jeans and a black button-up with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. But the watch on his wrist cost more than this entire neighborhood's monthly mortgage payments combined. Money had never been the issue between them. The betrayal was. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then turned it off completely. No distractions. He placed it in the glove compartment. Whatever business crisis was happening back in Seoul could wait. This was personal. The front door opened. Jun-suk's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Nia stepped out carrying 2 heavy grocery bags. She wore light blue scrubs, probably coming home from a nursing shift. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, not the elaborate styles she used to wear when they were together. She looked tired. Thin. Not like someone living off 5 billion won. Jun-suk frowned. This wasn't what he expected. In his mind, she'd be dripping with jewelry, living in luxury bought with his family's money. Instead, she was struggling with grocery bags in a middle-class neighborhood. It didn't matter. Appearances could be deceiving. He'd learned that the hard way when she left. He got out of the car, moving quietly across the street. Years of navigating dangerous situations had taught him to move like a shadow. She didn't notice him until he was halfway up her driveway. Nia. She turned. The grocery bags dropped from her hands. A carton of milk split open on the concrete, white liquid spreading around her feet. Her eyes widened in recognition, then fear. Jun-suk. That one word, his name on her lips after 5 years, hit him harder than he expected. He'd rehearsed this moment countless times. In his fantasies, he stayed cold, detached. But seeing her now, something hot and painful spread through his chest. 5 years, he said, his voice low. No calls. No messages. Just gone. You need to leave. Nia's eyes darted to the house, then back to him. Please. Leave. He stepped closer, crunching over spilled cereal. Like you did? With my father's money in your pocket? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Another step. You know what they call me now? The Dragon of Seoul. I run the organization. I find people who disappear. His voice dropped lower. People who steal. Nia backed up until she hit the side of the house. I didn't steal anything. 5 billion won isn't anything. That's not. She stopped mid-sentence. her eyes fixed on something behind him. Hannah, go back inside. Jun-suk turned his head slightly. A little girl stood in the doorway. 4, maybe 5 years old. Curly black hair and pigtails. Wearing pink shorts and a t-shirt with cartoon characters he didn't recognize. She was clutching a toy robot in one hand. But it was her eyes that made his breath catch. Distinctive. Unmistakable. Kong family eyes. The math wasn't complicated. 5 years gone. A child of 4. Who's this? He asked, his voice strange even to his own ears. The little girl, Hannah, didn't hide behind her mother. Instead, she marched forward, placing herself between them. Leave my mommy alone, she demanded, her chin jutting up defiantly. Jun-suk reached for Nia's arm. He wasn't going to hurt her. He just needed answers. Now. That's when it happened. Hannah pointed her toy robot at him like a weapon. I'm telling my daddy on you. He's the dragon, and he'll beat you up. The world stopped spinning. He was the dragon. The little girl was still talking, switching between English and Korean. My daddy is super strong and he protects us and he beats up bad men. Jun-suk looked at Nia, who had gone pale. Hania, Nia said gently. Go inside, baby. Please. But mommy. Now, Hannah. The little girl gave Jun-suk one last glare, then reluctantly went back into the house. Silence fell between them. Jun-suk struggled to process what just happened. The child was clearly his. But she knew him as some distant protector? The dragon? How could she know that name unless... You told her about me. It wasn't a question. Nia's eyes met his. Every day since she was born. But you took the money. You left. I never cashed that check. Jun-suk's mind raced. If she never cashed it, then why? A black SUV rolled slowly down the street, passing his rental car. It wasn't from the neighborhood. Too new. Too dark. The windows tinted beyond legal limits. Nia grabbed his arms suddenly, her fingers digging in. Jun-suk, she whispered, real fear in her eyes. You can't be here. It's not safe. Jun-suk stared at the black SUV as it crawled past the house. It didn't stop, but the message was clear enough. Someone was watching. What do you mean, not safe? He asked, his eyes still on the street. Please, Nia whispered, just go. I'll explain another time. Another time? Jun-suk's attention snapped back to her. 5 years wasn't enough time. You disappear with my father's money, have my child, and now want me to just walk away? I told you I didn't take the money. Then why leave? Before Nia could answer, the front door opened again. Hannah stood there, arms crossed, glaring at him with those unmistakable Kong family eyes. Mommy said go inside, but I'm not leaving you with the bad man. Jun-suk's anger deflated slightly at being called bad man by his own daughter. Nia sighed. He's not a bad man, Hannah. He's an old friend. He made you drop the groceries. Hannah pointed to the milk still pooling on the concrete. And he looks angry. Smart kid. Observant. Jun-suk couldn't help but feel a small flicker of pride beneath his confusion. We're coming inside, Nia said, taking Hannah's hand. She looked at Jun-suk. You too. Quickly. Before anyone sees you. He hesitated, then followed them into the house. The front door closed behind him with a soft click. The living room was modest but clean. A small sofa faced an older TV. Toys were neatly organized in colorful bins. Nothing suggested luxury or excess. No sign of 5 billion won. Hannah, Go play in your room for a bit, Nia said. But mommy. Please, baby. Just for a little while. The little girl looked between them, clearly reluctant. Promise you won't be scared? I promise. Hannah nodded, then pointed at Jun-suk. If you're mean to my mommy, my daddy will find out. She marched down the hall, her small shoulders squared with determination. The door to her room closed. Silence filled the space between them. She's mine. Jun-suk said it as a statement, not a question. Yes. Were you pregnant when you left? I found out 2 weeks after. Jun-suk's fists clenched at his sides. And you didn't think to tell me? It wasn't safe. So you keep saying. His voice rose. What wasn't safe about having a child with the heir to the Jimseong syndicate? You'd have been protected. Provided for. By your father? Nia's eyes flashed. The man who threatened to have me killed if I didn't disappear? That stopped him cold. What? Your father gave me that check and told me if I didn't leave Seoul immediately, I would be found floating in the Han River. He said I was making you weak. That your enemies would use me against you. Jun-suk shook his head. You're lying. Why would I lie now? You're already here. He turned away from her, trying to process this. His eyes landed on a framed photo on the wall. It was him, 5 years younger, smiling at the camera. Next to it was another, him in profile, not looking at the photographer. Candid shots from when they were together. Why keep his photos if she betrayed him? Jun-suk moved through the living room, noticing more details. A book of Korean fairy tales on the coffee table. A child's drawing on the refrigerator showing 3 stick figures, 1 tall woman, 1 small girl, and 1 man with what looked like flames around him. The dragon. She knows who I am, he said slowly. The dragon. How? Nia sighed. I tell her stories. About her brave daddy who protects people. Protects people? Jun-suk almost laughed. I don't protect. I control. I threaten. I destroy competition. Not to her. To her, you're a hero. Something shifted in his chest. For 5 years, he'd nurtured his hatred, let it fuel his rise to power. He'd pictured Nia living in luxury, laughing at how easily she'd played him. Not this. Not raising their daughter alone in a modest house, telling the child her father was a hero. If what you're saying is true, he said carefully, why not contact me once my father died? It's been 2 years. Because by then, you were the dragon. More dangerous than your father ever was. And we were safe here. The word caught his attention. Safe from what, exactly? Nia hesitated. From the people who want to hurt you by hurting what you love. No one knows about you here. Don't they? She nodded toward the window. That SUV wasn't from this neighborhood. And it's not the first one I've seen this week. Jun-suk moved to the kitchen, trying to clear his head. A glass of water. That's what he needed. He opened a cabinet, reaching for a glass. That's when he saw it. Behind the drinking glasses, partially hidden by a cereal box, a small monitor showing camera feeds from around the house. Front door. Backyard. Street view. He turned to Nia, who stood in the kitchen doorway watching him. You have the house under surveillance, he said. For 5 years, she replied. Ever since someone tried to break in when Hannah was 6 months old. Jun-suk stared at the small surveillance monitor tucked behind the cereal box. 4 different camera feeds cycled silently, showing every angle of the house exterior. You want to explain this? He asked. Nia crossed her arms. It's exactly what it looks like. Security. This isn't normal home security. This is professional-grade equipment. I learned from the best, she said, a hint of bitterness in her voice. Your family taught me what real danger looks like. Jun-suk turned to face her fully. What happened when Hannah was 6 months old? A man broke the back window at 2 a.m. I had a baseball bat ready. Nia's eyes hardened at the memory. He ran when the neighbor's security lights came on. You reported it to the police? And tell them what? That my daughter's father is a Korean crime boss and someone might be targeting us? I handled it myself. Jun-suk tried to picture it, Nia alone with an infant, wielding a baseball bat against an intruder. The image didn't fit with the woman he thought had betrayed him. It fit even less with the soft-spoken nurse he'd fallen in love with in Seoul. Why not reach out to me? You're not listening. Nia's voice was strained. Your father made it very clear what would happen if I stayed in your life. Tell me exactly what happened. Nia sighed, then gestured to the kitchen table. They sat across from each other, the afternoon sun casting long shadows through the blinds. It was March, she began. You were in Busan handling that shipping contract. Your father invited me to tea. Jun-suk remembered. The Busan deal that kept him away for 3 days. When he returned, Nia was gone. He seemed kind at first, asking about my family, my work at the hospital. Then he showed me photos. Photos of what? A woman's body. Pulled from the river. He said she was the girlfriend of one of your cousins who had become problematic. Then he showed me surveillance photos of me. At work. Shopping. Even at my apartment. Jun-suk's jaw tightened. His father's methods were never subtle. He said I made you vulnerable. That your cousins were plotting to take control, and they'd use me to get to you. Then he wrote the check. Nia took a deep breath. 5 billion won to disappear completely. He said if I contacted you or didn't leave Korea within 48 hours, I'd end up like the woman in the photos. And you believed him. He was the head of a crime syndicate, Jun-suk. Of course I believed him. So you took the money and ran. Nia stood up abruptly. Wait here. She disappeared down the hallway, returning moments later with an envelope. She placed it on the table between them. I never took his money. Jun-suk opened the envelope. Inside was a check. 5 billion won. Creased and yellowed with age. Uncashed. He stared at it. His father's signature. The date from 5 years ago. The perfect condition indicating it had never been processed through a bank. I kept it, Nia said quietly. As a reminder of what your world really is. What it costs. If this revelation shocked you, hit that subscribe button now and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Jun-suk's anger was draining away, replaced by a hollow feeling in his chest. For 5 years, he'd believed a lie. Built his hatred on a foundation that didn't exist. When I found out I was pregnant, Nia continued, I almost called you. But by then, you were already changing. I saw news about the Jumseong Syndicate's new brutal tactics. The Dragon of Seoul, they called you. You had no right to keep my child from me, he said, but the words lacked the fire from earlier. Maybe not. Nia's eyes met his. But I had every right to protect her. The sound of small footsteps interrupted them. Hannah stood in the doorway, clutching her robot toy. Mommy, I'm hungry. Nia quickly wiped her eyes. I'll make you a snack, baby. The milk spilled, Hannah pointed out. I know. We'll get more tomorrow. Hannah looked at Jun-suk curiously, her earlier hostility replaced by childish interest. Are you staying for dinner? Jun-suk didn't know how to respond. This small person with his eyes was talking to him like he was any normal visitor, not knowing he was her father. Not knowing he was the dragon from her stories. I'm not sure yet, he finally said. Do you like mac and cheese? Mommy makes the best mac and cheese. Despite everything, Jun-suk felt his lips twitch upward. I've never had it. Hannah's eyes widened. Never? Mommy, he's never had mac and cheese. That is a tragedy, Nia said, her voice softening as she looked at her daughter. Maybe we should fix that. Jun-suk watched them together, the easy way Nia stroked Hannah's hair, the child's complete trust in her mother. He had missed all of this. 4 years of his daughter's life. Gone. I need to get my phone from the car, he said suddenly, standing up. I'll be right back. Outside, the street was quiet. No sign of the black SUV. He unlocked his rental car and retrieved his phone from the glove compartment, turning it on. Immediately, notifications flooded in. 12 missed calls. 27 messages. Most from Min-ho, his right-hand man back in Seoul. The most recent text read, "Where are you? Need to discuss security breach. Someone accessed file on Nia Carter. Urgent." Jun-suk froze, staring at the message. Someone was looking into Nia, recently enough that Min-ho noticed. He quickly texted back, handling personal matter. What do they know? The reply came seconds later, they found her location. You need to move her immediately. As Jun-suk turned to head back to the house, his phone buzzed again with another message. Are you in California? Tracked your private jet. Need confirmation of your location. He hesitated. Min-ho was loyal, had been for years. But something didn't feel right about the urgency to confirm his whereabouts. He walked back to the house, his mind racing. As he entered, Nia was at the stove, Hannah sitting at the kitchen table drawing. A surprisingly domestic scene that seemed completely at odds with the danger circling them. Nia looked up, noticed his expression, then saw the phone in his hand. Her face drained of color. You told someone you're here, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't tell anyone, Jun-suk said, quickly pocketing his phone. But they know anyway. He moved to the window, carefully peering through the blinds. The black SUV was back, crawling to a stop directly in front of the house. It's them, he said. The car from before. Nia immediately turned off the stove. Hannah, baby, go to your room. But the mac and cheese. Later, Nia said firmly. Take your robot and go play in your room. Hannah looked between the adults, sensing the tension. Without arguing, she grabbed her toy and hurried down the hall. Who are they? Nia asked once Hannah was out of earshot. The Viper clan. Korean rivals. They've been trying to take over parts of our territory for years. Jun-suk moved away from the window. No coincidence they show up the same day I do. The bitter truth settled between them. No matter how far you run, the past always finds a way to catch up. Jun-suk had spent 5 years building walls of protection around his empire, never realizing he'd left his greatest vulnerability exposed. You have a gun? He asked. In my bedroom. Top drawer. Get it. And Hannah. Go to the bathroom in the middle of the house, no windows. Lock the door. Nia nodded, already moving. What will you do? Buy you time. Jun-suk quickly assessed the house. Single story. 3 entry points, front door, back door, sliding glass door off the dining room. The surveillance system gave him an advantage, but not much. He checked the kitchen cabinets, finding a cast iron skillet. Better than nothing. He turned off lights as he moved through the house, creating shadows, making it harder for anyone looking in to see his position. On the monitor, he watched 2 men exit the SUV. They weren't being subtle anymore. One carried something long at his side, probably a shotgun with a shortened barrel. The other had a hand tucked inside his jacket. Both wore dark clothes and moved with the confidence of men who'd done this before. Jun-suk grabbed his phone, considered calling Min-ho, then hesitated. Something felt off about those texts. Instead, he dialed the local police. When the operator answered, he knocked the phone against the wall twice, then dropped it, leaving the line open. A strange noise complaint would at least get a patrol car eventually. "Nia," he called softly down the hall. "Are you in position?" "Yes," came the muffled reply from the bathroom. "What's happening?" "Stay there. Keep Hannah quiet." The front doorknob rattled. Then silence. Jun-suk moved to the kitchen, pressing his back against the wall next to the refrigerator. From here, he could see the front door and the sliding glass door, but remained in shadow. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20. 30. Then everything happened at once. The sliding glass door shattered with a deafening crash. At the same moment, the front door splintered open, kicked in with brutal force. Jun-suk stayed perfectly still, controlling his breathing. The first man entered through the broken sliding door, shotgun leading. The second came through the front, a pistol now visible in his hand. "Check the bedrooms," the one with the pistol said in Korean. "The girl is the priority." The word sent ice through Jun-suk's veins. They weren't just here for him. They were here for Hannah. As the man with the shotgun moved down the hallway toward the bedrooms, Jun-suk made his move. He stepped out from his hiding place and hurled the cast iron skillet like a discus. It struck the man with the pistol directly in the face with a sickening crunch. Blood spurted as the man crumpled, his gun clattering to the floor. The noise alerted the second intruder, who spun around, raising the shotgun. Jun-suk was already moving, diving behind the sofa as the weapon discharged with a thunderous boom. Stuffing and splinters exploded where he'd been standing a second before. There's something clarifying about having a shotgun fired at you. In that moment, Jun-suk wasn't the sophisticated businessman or the calculated crime boss. He was simply a father protecting his child. He rolled to his feet as the intruder pumped the shotgun for another round. Grabbing a heavy lamp from an end table, Jun-suk hurled it at the gunman, then charged forward. The lamp missed, but it distracted the man long enough for Jun-suk to close the distance. He slammed into the intruder, driving him backward into the wall. The shotgun discharged again, blasting a hole in the ceiling. They grappled for the weapon. The intruder was younger, stronger, but Jun-suk fought with the desperate fury of a man who had just found his family and refused to lose them. He slammed his forehead into the bridge of the man's nose. Once. Twice. Blood flowed, but the man held on to the shotgun. A sound from behind, the first intruder was stirring, reaching for his dropped pistol. Jun-suk kneed his opponent hard in the groin, then twisted the shotgun with all his strength. The barrel swung around, pointing at the recovering man on the floor. The intruder he was fighting pulled the trigger. The shotgun blast caught his partner squarely in the chest, throwing him back like a rag doll. The remaining attacker started to curse, but Jun-suk slammed the shotgun butt into his face, silencing him. He wrenched the weapon free as the man slumped to the floor, unconscious or dead. Jun-suk didn't check which. The house fell quiet except for his ragged breathing. He quickly retrieved the fallen pistol, checking both weapons. The pistol had a full magazine. The shotgun had one shell left. "It's clear," he called out. "Stay where you are." He moved to check the surveillance monitor. The street appeared empty, but that didn't mean a movement in his peripheral vision. A third man, coming through the shattered sliding door. Jun-suk turned, raising the pistol. Too slow. The muzzle flash was blindingly bright in the darkened house. The impact felt like being kicked by a horse, high on his right side. Jun-suk stumbled backward, firing 3 rapid shots in return. The third intruder jerked, then collapsed half in, half out of the doorway. Jun-suk looked down at himself. A dark stain was spreading across his shirt. Wet. Warm. He pressed his hand against it, feeling blood seep between his fingers. Jun-suk? Mia's voice came from down the hall. What was that? Are you okay? He tried to answer, but his voice wouldn't come. The room tilted strangely. The pistol slipped from his fingers, hitting the carpet with a muffled thud. Stay there, he finally managed to call out, his voice strained. Not safe yet. Jun-suk leaned heavily against the wall, sliding down until he was sitting. The blood was flowing faster now, soaking his shirt, pooling beneath him on the floor. In the distance, he heard sirens. Jun-suk pressed harder against the wound, trying to slow the bleeding. The bullet had hit him high on the right side, below the shoulder. Not immediately fatal, but bad enough. He forced himself to focus. 3 attackers down. The sirens were getting louder. He needed to check if there were more outside. Using the wall for support, he pulled himself to his feet. The room swam before his eyes. He blinked hard, willing the dizziness away. The surveillance monitor showed no movement on the street. The SUV was still there, but no one was inside. Jun-suk? Nia called again, her voice edged with panic. It's clear, he managed. You can come out. He heard the bathroom door open. Footsteps in the hall. Nia appeared first, a small revolver clutched in her right hand. When she saw him, her face went pale. Oh my God. Behind her, Hannah peeked around her mother's legs. Her eyes widened at the sight of the destroyed living room, the blood, the bodies. You're hurt, Hannah whispered, staring at Jun-suk's bloodied shirt. I'm okay, he lied, trying to stand straighter. He didn't want to scare the child. Nia rushed to him, setting the gun on a side table. Sit down. Let me see. The sirens were almost at the house now. Red and blue lights flashed through the broken windows. Police, Jun-suk said. We need to leave. You need a hospital. Can't. Too many questions. Nia pressed her hand over his, applying more pressure to the wound. You've lost a lot of blood. I've had worse. That wasn't entirely true, but it sounded good. Hannah had disappeared down the hall. Jun-suk could hear her small feet pattering on the hardwood. Who were they? Nia asked, her eyes darting to the men on the floor. Viper clan. But they were looking specifically for Hannah. They said she was the priority. How did they find us? Jun-suk's mind went to Minho's text. The timing was too perfect. I'm not sure yet. But we can't stay here. The police sirens stopped outside. Car doors slammed. LAPD. A voice shouted from outside. We're responding to a disturbance call. Jun-suk lowered his voice. I made a noise complaint call. Tell them you heard a break-in and fired in self-defense. Your gun is registered, right? Nia nodded. What about you? I'm a family friend visiting. Nothing more. Hannah reappeared, clutching something in her small hands. She approached Jun-suk cautiously, stepping around the broken glass. For your ouchie, she said solemnly, holding out a box of cartoon character bandages. Despite the pain, despite the danger, something warm spread through Jun-suk's chest. This child, his child, was trying to help him with colorful bandages meant for skin, knees and paper cuts. He'd ordered executions. Controlled territory with brutal efficiency. Built a reputation that made hardened criminals tremble. And here was a 4-year-old girl offering him a Pororo the Penguin bandage for a bullet wound. Thank you, he said, his voice rougher than he intended. If moments like this touch your heart, smash that subscribe button now and tell me where you're watching from. Your support helps bring more stories of redemption to life. Police. Open up. The knocking was insistent now. Coming. Nia called. She looked at Jun-suk. Can you stand? Yes. Hannah, stay right next to me. The next hour passed in a blur. Police taking statements. Paramedics examining the dead intruder by the sliding door and the unconscious one against the wall. The third man had died from the shotgun blast. Jun-suk refused hospital transport, insisting he just needed basic first aid. The paramedics argued, but eventually gave up when he signed a waiver. When the police finally left, taking the survivors and bodies with them, the house fell into an uneasy quiet. Yellow crime scene tape crisscrossed the broken sliding door. The furniture was ruined. Blood stained the carpet. You need proper medical attention, Nia said, guiding Jun-suk to her bedroom, the only room without broken glass. Do you still have your nursing skills? Yes, but... Then I'm in good hands. Hannah followed them, still holding her box of bandages. She watched as her mother helped Jun-suk remove his blood-soaked shirt. The wound was ugly but straightforward, a through-and-through that had missed any vital organs. Hannah, can you be Mommy's helper? Nia asked. Go to the bathroom and bring me the big first aid kit under the sink. Glad to be useful, Hannah hurried off. Alone for a moment, Nia met Jun-suk's eyes. You saved our lives. They were here because of me. They were here for Hannah. You said it yourself. Jun-suk leaned back against the pillows. Why would they target a child? Because she's your daughter. The heir to the Jimseong syndicate. The words hung between them. The truth they'd both avoided saying directly. Hannah returned with the first aid kit, preventing further conversation. Jun-suk watched as Nia cleaned and dressed his wound with the practiced hands of a medical professional. Each touch was clinical but gentle. Will he be okay? Hannah asked, her small face serious. He'll be fine, Nia assured her. Like when the dragon got hurt in the story but kept fighting? Jun-suk looked at the child curiously. What story is that? Mommy tells me stories about the dragon. Sometimes he gets hurt protecting people, but he always gets better because he's strong. Jun-suk glanced at Nia, who was focused on bandaging his wound. You like these dragon stories? He asked Hannah. She nodded enthusiastically. He's my favorite. Even better than Princess Elsa. That's high praise, he said, smiling despite the pain. Once the wound was dressed, Hannah insisted on adding one of her cartoon bandages on top of the proper bandaging. Jun-suk didn't argue. Thank you, Dr. Hannah, he said seriously. She beamed, pleased by the title. Why don't you go pick out some clean clothes to pack? Nia suggested. Like when we visit Aunt Jenny. When Hannah was out of earshot again, Jun-suk spoke. We can't stay here. I know, Nia said, her voice quiet. But where do we go? The police will be watching this place. Hospitals report gunshot wounds. And whoever sent those men knows where we live. I have resources. Your resources are what brought this to our door. It wasn't an accusation, just a statement of fact, but it stung nonetheless. I didn't know about you, Jun-suk said. About Hannah. If I had. You would have what? Brought us to Seoul? Put us in the middle of your world? I would have protected you. Nia sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. This is exactly what your father warned me about. He said I'd be used against you. That Hannah would be a target. My father manipulated you to leave. He wanted me focused on the business, not distracted by family. He wasn't wrong about the danger. They fell silent, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. For 5 years, they'd lived separate lives, he building power, she raising their child. Now their worlds had violently collided, and there was no going back. "I'm sorry," Jun-suk said finally. The words felt foreign on his tongue. The dragon of soul didn't apologize. But the man looking at the mother of his child found it necessary. "I brought this to your door." Nia met his eyes. "And you almost died protecting us. Whatever else is between us, I won't forget that." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was a beginning, an understanding that they were now bound by more than their past. By more than even Hannah. They were bound by survival. "We need to leave tonight," Jun-suk said, attempting to sit up. Nia placed a hand on his good shoulder. "Where would we go? They found us here. They could find us anywhere." Jun-suk's expression hardened. "There's only one safe place," he said grimly. "My father's house." The security gate slid open silently, revealing a winding driveway that disappeared into the Hollywood Hills. Jun-suk punched a code into the keypad, then eased the rental car forward. His right side throbbed with every movement, but he kept his face neutral. "This is your father's house?" Nia asked, looking out at the manicured landscaping illuminated by subtle ground lighting. "One of his properties. He never used it much." After the attack, they'd gathered essentials quickly: clothes for Hannah, Nia's nursing supplies, the surveillance equipment. Jun-suk had insisted on leaving immediately, before anyone else came looking. The house appeared as they rounded a corner. Modern, all clean lines and glass, perched on the hillside with the sprawl of Los Angeles glittering below. Unlike the modest home they'd fled, this screamed wealth and power. "It's like a castle," Hannah whispered from the back seat, her face pressed against the window. Jun-suk parked in front of the entrance. "There's a security system. Cameras. Reinforced doors and windows. We'll be safe here." "Until when?" Nia asked quietly. He had no answer for that. Inside, the house was cold and impersonal, expensive furniture that had never been used, art selected for investment value rather than taste. Jun-suk moved through the rooms, checking security panels, drawing blinds. Hannah explored wide-eyed, touching the smooth marble countertops in the kitchen, peering out at the infinity pool that seemed to drop off into the city lights below. "This place is bigger than our whole house," she said. Nia stood in the center of the vast living room, arms crossed, looking out of place. "Is this what your life is like in Seoul?" "Not exactly." Jun-suk adjusted a thermostat. "My place is more lived in. With armed guards, I assume." "Yes." The tension between them was palpable. 5 years apart had turned them into strangers, yet they were bound by the most intimate connection possible: their daughter. "Hannah needs to sleep," Nia said, checking her watch. "It's been a traumatic day. There are bedrooms upstairs. Pick any one." After getting Hannah settled in a bedroom that overlooked the city, Nia came back downstairs. She found Jun-suk in the kitchen, shirt off, checking his bandages. "Let me look," she said, professional instinct taking over. He stood still as she examined the wound. The bleeding had slowed, but the area was swollen and angry. "You need antibiotics. There's a medical kit in the master bathroom. Should have what you need." Nia disappeared, returning moments later with supplies. She worked in silence, cleaning the wound again, applying antibiotic ointment, rebandaging. "You're good at that," Jun-suk observed. "I've been an ER nurse for 10 years. Gunshot wounds aren't new to me." "Is that where you work now?" "The ER?" "Part-time." "I switched to part-time when Hannah started preschool." She secured the last piece of tape. "This needs to be changed again tomorrow." Jun-suk nodded, pulling a clean t-shirt over his head. It was strange being cared for by her, the clinical touch so different from what they once shared. You hungry? He asked. No. There's food in the pantry. Security stocks it regularly. Security, Nia repeated. Your people, you mean? The same people who might have told the Viper clan where to find us. Jun-suk's eyes hardened. We don't know that yet. We know someone tracked you to California. We know those men came specifically for Hannah. She ran a hand through her hair, frustration evident. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid by leaving. You could have told me you were pregnant. And then what? You'd have moved us into some compound with armed guards? Is that the life you wanted for your child? Instead you chose to tell her stories about a father who was never there. The words came out harsher than he intended. Nia flinched slightly. I didn't want her growing up without knowing you, she said, her voice softer. I didn't want her to think she wasn't loved. The statement hung between them. Despite everything, the fear, the distance, the years apart, she had kept him alive for Hannah. Not as the crime boss he'd become, but as the man he might have been. Show me, he said. What? The stories. Show me what you've told her about me. Nia hesitated, then went to her bag and pulled out a worn notebook. She handed it to him without a word. Inside were handwritten stories, simple enough for a child to understand. The Dragon of Soul, a powerful protector who kept people safe. Who fought bad men. Who loved his family even though he had to be far away. Alongside the stories were drawings, clearly done by Hannah. Crude stick figures, one tall with flames around it, the dragon, one small with pigtails, Hannah, and one with curly hair, Nia. In one drawing, the dragon was fighting off monsters. In another, he was holding the small figure's hand. Something tightened in Jun-suk's chest. For years, he'd been building a reputation based on fear and control. Yet here, in these childish drawings, he was something else entirely. A hero. A protector. A father. She draws a new one almost every week, Nia said. Asks questions about you all the time. What do you tell her? That you're brave. That you're strong. That someday she'll meet you. Jun-suk closed the notebook carefully, as if it contained something fragile. In a way, it did, the image of a father that existed only in a child's imagination. Why? He asked. Why make me a hero when I wasn't there? Because everyone deserves to be loved by their father, Nia said simply. Even if he's just a story. The weight of those lost years pressed down on him. 4 birthdays. First steps. First words. All gone, replaced by crude drawings and bedtime stories. I need to make some calls, he said, retreating behind the mask of business. We need to figure out who's behind this. Nia nodded, understanding the conversation was over. I'll be upstairs with Hannah. Once alone, Jun-suk moved to the study, a room with no windows, solid walls. He took out a second phone, one he kept for secure communications only. The first call went to Park Jae-hyun, head of his security team in Seoul. It's me, he said in Korean when the man answered. I need information on Viper clan movements in California. Sir? You're in California? The surprise in Jae-hyun's voice was concerning. As head of security, he should have known Jun-suk's whereabouts. That's not important. I need to know who authorized an operation in View Park within the last 12 hours. View Park? I don't have any reports of Viper activity there. 3 men. Professional. They had information about a woman and child. A pause. Sir, are you referring to Nia Carter? The file Minho requested? Jun-suk's grip tightened on the phone. What file? Minho asked for the archived file on Nia Carter 3 days ago. Said you wanted it updated. I gave no such order. Another pause. Sir, there's something else. Minho has been meeting with Viper representatives. Unofficial meetings. We've been tracking him as part of routine security protocols. The pieces clicked into place. Minho's urgent texts. The need to confirm Jun-suk's location. The attack happening the same day Jun-suk arrived in California. Lock down all files related to Nia Carter and her child. Change security protocols. And find Minho. Don't let him know you're looking. Yes, sir. Should I send a team to your location? Jun-suk considered it. Not yet. I'll contact you with extraction details. After ending the call, he sat in silence for a moment. Minho had been with him for 6 years. Had helped him take control after his father's death. Had become his right hand. And now it appeared he had betrayed him. But why target Hannah specifically? He made 2 more calls, gathering information from trusted sources. Each revealed another piece of a disturbing puzzle. When he finally returned to the living room, Nia was coming down the stairs. She's asleep, she said. Finally. Jun-suk nodded, his mind still processing what he'd learned. What is it? Nia asked, reading his expression. The attack wasn't random, he said, the words heavy between them. Someone is specifically targeting you, Nia. And they know about Hannah. Morning light streamed through the blinds of the safe house. Jun-suk had barely slept, spending most of the night making calls and planning. He sat at the kitchen island, 3 phones arranged in front of him, a laptop open, a notepad filled with Korean characters. The wound in his side ached with each breath, but he ignored it. Pain was familiar. Betrayal was worse. Nia appeared in the doorway, hair pulled back, wearing the same clothes from yesterday. You look terrible, she said. I've been up all night. She moved to the coffee machine, examining it before figuring out how to start a brew. Did you learn anything? Enough to know we have a serious problem. He pushed one of the phones toward her. My second in command, Minho, accessed your file 3 days ago. He told security it was on my orders. But it wasn't. No. And he's been meeting with Viper clan representatives. Nia leaned against the counter, arms crossed. So your right-hand man betrayed you. Is that common in your line of work? The question wasn't sarcastic, just direct. More common than I'd like to admit, Jun-suk replied. Loyalty in our world is complicated. Your world, she corrected. Not mine. Not yours, he agreed. But unfortunately, Hannah's now. The coffee machine beeped. Nia poured 2 mugs, sliding one toward him. So what's your plan? I'm setting a trap. He tapped the laptop. I've leaked information about a second safe house in Malibu. If Minho is our leak, the Vipers will show up there instead of here. And if they show up here anyway? Then we have bigger problems. He sipped the coffee, grimacing slightly. But I don't think they will. I've been careful. They sat in silence for a moment. Not the tense silence of yesterday, but something more thoughtful. I need to ask you something, Jun-suk finally said. And I need the truth. Okay. Did my father ever contact you after you left Seoul? Nia's eyes widened slightly. No. Never. Why would he? Because I think he knew about Hannah. I think he's been looking for you both. That doesn't make sense. He wanted me gone. He wanted you away from me. That's not the same thing. Nia set her mug down. What are you saying? Before Jun-suk could answer, small footsteps padded down the hallway. Hannah appeared, hair tousled from sleep, rubbing her eyes. Mommy, I'm hungry. Good morning, baby. Nia's demeanor instantly softened. I'll make you breakfast. Hannah climbed onto a stool next to Jun-suk, seemingly more comfortable with him today. She stared at his arrangement of phones. "Why do you have so many phones?" she asked. "Different phones for different people," he answered. "Like secret phones? Are you a spy?" Jun-suk's lips twitched. "Something like that." "Are you feeling better? From your ouchie?" He nodded. "Much better. Thank you for the special bandage." Hannah beamed, pleased her treatment had worked. She looked at his notepad. "What's that writing?" "Korean. It's a language from where I was born. Mommy says that's where my daddy is from too." She tilted her head. "Can you teach me?" The request caught him off guard. This child, his daughter, wanted to learn something from him. Something connecting her to the heritage she didn't know was hers. "Sure," he said, voice rougher than intended. "Here. I'll show you how to write your name." He wrote carefully on a clean page. "This is Hannah in Korean. It means one or first. It's a good name." "Can I try?" she asked. He handed her the pen, guiding her small hand through the strokes. Her tongue poked out the corner of her mouth in concentration. Nia watched them from the kitchen, a complicated expression on her face. In Korea, Jun-suk found himself explaining, fathers are traditionally a bit more formal with their children. Less hugging, more teaching. "That sounds sad," Hannah said, still focused on her writing. "It can be. But they show love in different ways. Protecting. Providing. Making sure their children have good futures. Like the dragon in my stories?" Jun-suk met Nia's eyes over Hannah's head. "Yes. Like that." After breakfast, Hannah insisted on showing Jun-suk a hand game she'd learned in preschool. It involved a complicated pattern of clapping, finger snapping, and rhyming words. He fumbled through it, making her giggle. "You're not very good," she declared. "I need more practice. I'll teach you again later." She said it with such confidence, assuming there would be a later, that it tightened something in his chest. When Nia took Hannah upstairs for a bath, Jun-suk returned to his work. He had one more call to make, the one that would spring his trap. He dialed Minho's number, switching to Korean when the man answered. "I need an update," Jun-suk said without preamble. "Sir. I've been trying to reach you. Where are you?" "Handling the situation." "What do you know about the Viper clan operation in California?" A pause. "Just rumors, sir. Nothing concrete. I need security at the Malibu house. Immediately. I'm moving the package there tonight." "The package, sir?" "The woman and child, Minho." "Keep up." Another pause. "Of course. I'll arrange it personally." "No. Send Team B. I want you coordinating from Seoul. And Minho, this stays between us. No one else knows about the Malibu location." "Understood. I'll make the arrangements." Jun-suk ended the call, then immediately contacted Jae-hyun. "It's done. Watch the Malibu property. If Viper clan shows up, we have our traitor." 2 hours later, Jae-hyun called back. "Sir, surveillance confirmed Viper vehicles at the Malibu location. 3 cars, heavily armed." "And Minho?" "He's made 5 calls in the last hour. 2 to Viper numbers and 3 to a secure line we can't trace. Keep following him. I want to know who he's talking to." "There's something else, sir." Jae-hyun's voice lowered. "Minho accessed the family vault yesterday. He removed an item for verification purposes." Jun-suk frowned. "What item?" "Your father's private seal. The one used for family documents." A cold feeling settled in Jun-suk's stomach. The family seal was only used for the most important contracts, business transfers, property acquisitions, and familial claims. Sir? Jae-hyun prompted when the silence stretched. Have the jet ready. I'm coming back to Seoul. And I need a secure video call connection in 1 hour. After ending the call, Jun-suk found Nia in the living room. Hannah was napping upstairs after the excitement of the morning. I confirmed it, he said. Min-ho is working against us. He sent Viper Clan to a decoy location based on information only he had. What does he want? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Jun-suk sat across from her, leaning forward. Nia, I need to ask you again. Are you absolutely certain my father never contacted you after you left? Yes. Why do you keep asking that? Because Min-ho took my father's personal seal from our family vault. It's only used for official family business. Your father is dead. What family business could there be? That's what worries me. Jun-suk tapped his fingers against the armrest. My father was obsessed with legacy. With continuing the bloodline. When I didn't marry the woman he chose, he was furious. Understanding dawned in Nia's eyes. You think he was looking for his grandchild? I think he discovered you were pregnant. Maybe had you followed before you disappeared completely. And I think he's been searching for Hannah ever since. But why? He threatened to kill me to get me away from you. To get you away from me, yes. But not to lose his grandchild. Jun-suk stood, pacing despite the pain in his side. In Korean tradition, bloodline is everything. The firstborn grandson carries the family forward. Hannah is a girl. It doesn't matter. She's still my child. My blood. He turned to face her. And under Korean family law, if something happened to me, custody would go to my father as the head of the family. The secure laptop on the table chimed, indicating an incoming call. Jun-suk checked the encryption, then accepted. The screen filled with the face of a middle-aged Korean man. Heavy jowls, expensive suit, cold eyes. The video call with Min-ho ended, leaving Jun-suk and Nia in stunned silence. The living room of the safe house felt suddenly cold. What did he mean, your father legally claimed Hannah? Nia finally asked, her voice tight with fear. Jun-suk moved to the laptop, typing rapidly. I need to access the family server. If what Min-ho says is true, there will be records. Could he be lying? About the document? Possibly. About my father's intentions? Jun-suk's jaw tightened. No. It fits perfectly with who he was. After several minutes of searching through encrypted files, Jun-suk found what he was looking for. His expression darkened as he read. It's here. A family register document dated 3 years ago, claiming any child of my blood as a direct heir to my father, bypassing me entirely. He looked up at Nia. He knew about Hannah. Somehow, he found out. How is that even legal? In Korea, family patriarchs have certain traditional rights. My father exploited every loophole in the system. Jun-suk scrolled further down. There's more. A video file, recorded before his death. Password protected. He entered several combinations before the file unlocked. The screen filled with the image of an elderly Korean man, sitting in a traditional office. Kang Sung-ho, Jun-suk's father, stared directly into the camera. If you're watching this, the old man said in Korean, then you've discovered the truth about your child. Jun-suk translated quietly for Nia as his father continued. I always knew you were weak, Jun-suk. Too influenced by Western ideas. Too soft to lead our family properly. When you chose that American nurse over the bride I selected, you proved me right. The old man's face showed no emotion, but his eyes burned with cold intensity. When I learned she was carrying your child, I saw an opportunity. A chance to raise a proper Kong. A child molded from birth to continue our legacy the right way. He leaned closer to the camera. I have claimed this child legally as my direct heir. Minho will serve as guardian until the child comes of age. You are removed from succession. Jun-suk's hands gripped the edge of the table so tightly his knuckles turned white. Your weakness ends with you, my son. The future of the Kong family will be strong. As it was always meant to be. The video ended, the screen going black. Silence filled the room again. He's been dead for 2 years, Jun-suk said quietly. And he's still trying to control everything. Nia stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself. You said Minho took the family seal. Does that mean these documents aren't valid without it? Correct. He needs the seal to fully authenticate the claim. Jun-suk closed the laptop. Which means they still need Hannah. The document alone isn't enough. So what do we do now? Jun-suk moved to stand beside her, looking out at the city below. We have options. Not many, but some. Like what? I can fight this legally. Challenge the documents. It would be messy, public, and dangerous. Or we run. Disappear completely. New identities, new lives. Nia turned to look at him. You would do that? Walk away from everything you've built? What have I built, really? There was something hollow in his voice. An empire based on fear. A reputation for cruelty. Is that what I want Hannah to inherit? The question hung between them. For years, Jun-suk had defined himself by his position, his power. The dragon of soul. Now he was questioning everything. I spent 5 years hating you, he said suddenly. Believing you took the money and ran. Building walls around myself. Becoming exactly what my father wanted, cold, ruthless, focused only on business. And now? Now I see what you did. You protected our daughter from my world. From becoming a pawn in my father's games. He met her eyes. I was wrong about you, Nia. And I'm sorry. The apology seemed to crack something in Nia's carefully maintained composure. I wanted to contact you so many times. When she took her first steps. When she said her first word, it was dragon, by the way. A sad smile touched her lips. I never stopped loving you. I just loved her more. As you should have. Jun-suk moved closer. You did what I couldn't. You kept her safe. Until now. The words fell heavy between them. They both knew their brief peace was temporary. Minho and the Viper clan were still hunting for Hannah. The safe house was secure for now, but for how long? Upstairs, they heard Hannah moving around, having woken from her nap. The sound of small feet on hardwood, a child humming to herself. Do you think we could ever have a normal life? Nia asked quietly. The 3 of us? Before Jun-suk could answer, his phone vibrated. He checked the screen, his expression instantly hardening. Security breach at the gate, he said, moving quickly to the security panel on the wall. Someone's trying to override the system. The screens showed 3 black SUVs at the gate. Men in tactical gear were working on the control box. How did they find us? Nia asked, already moving toward the stairs. I thought your trap worked. It did. This is something else. Jun-suk checked the other security feeds, his mind racing. There must be a tracker. Something we brought with us. He grabbed her arm. The surveillance equipment from your house. Did you check it for trackers? Nia's eyes widened. No. I just disconnected it and packed it. Where is it? In my bag. By the door. Jun-suk moved quickly, ignoring the pain in his side. He found the bag, dumping its contents on the floor. Among the tangle of cables and small cameras, a tiny black device blinked steadily. They've been tracking us since we left View Park. He crushed the device under his heel. But it's too late. They're already here. Nia ran upstairs to get Hannah while Jun-suk gathered weapons. The safe house had a hidden compartment in the office wall, containing handguns, ammunition, and bulletproof vests. He was checking a 9mm pistol when Nia returned with Hannah, who looked confused and frightened. "Mommy, what's happening?" "We're going to play a game," Nia said, her voice calm despite her fear. "Hide and seek. We need to be very quiet." Jun-suk handed Nia a vest, then knelt in front of Hannah. "Do you trust me?" The little girl looked at him with wide eyes, then nodded slowly. "Good. I'm going to keep you and your mom safe. But you have to do exactly what I say. Okay?" "Okay." He heard glass breaking somewhere at the back of the house. They were running out of time. "There's a panic room," he told Nia, leading them toward the master bedroom. "Behind the bookcase. Once you're inside, lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me." "What about you?" "I'll buy you time." Nia grabbed his arm. "You can't fight them alone. You're injured." "I don't plan to fight. Just distract." He showed them the hidden panel that opened the panic room, a small, fortified space with its own ventilation, communications, and supplies. "Get inside. Lock the door." Nia hesitated, then pulled him into a fierce hug. "Don't you dare die." "I won't." As they sealed themselves in the panic room, Jun-suk moved back through the house. He could hear men entering from multiple points, their footsteps careful but detectable. He took position in the kitchen, using the island as cover. From here, he could see two entry points, the back door and the dining room. The first intruder appeared in the dining room doorway. Jun-suk didn't hesitate. 2 shots, center mass. The man dropped. More gunfire erupted from the back of the house. Bullets splintered cabinets and shattered glassware. Jun-suk stayed low, returning fire only when he had a clear shot. His injury slowed him down. Each movement sent pain lancing through his side. He knew he couldn't hold them off for long. After emptying his clip, he retreated deeper into the house, using furniture as cover. 3 intruders down, but more were coming. He needed to reach the garage. A bullet grazed his arm as he dove behind a sofa. Blood soaked his sleeve, but he kept moving. The garage was just through the utility room. He made it inside, slamming the door behind him. 2 vehicles sat in the space, an SUV and a motorcycle. Jun-suk chose the motorcycle, knowing it would be faster on the winding Hollywood Hills roads. As he started the engine, bullets punched through the door behind him. No time left. He gunned the motorcycle straight through the garage door, fiberglass and wood exploding outward. The bike hit the driveway hard, nearly throwing him, but he maintained control. Gunfire followed him down the driveway. A bullet pinged off the motorcycle's frame. Another tore through his pants leg, missing flesh by inches. Then he was around the curve, out of their line of sight. The winding road gave him cover as he descended the hill, blood dripping from his injured arm, pain radiating from his side. He didn't go far. Just far enough to lose them. Then he cut the engine and pushed the motorcycle into the brush, concealing it. Using his secure phone, he called Jae-hyun. Safe house compromised. At least 6 hostiles. Nia and Hannah are in the panic room. I have a team 20 minutes out, Jae-hyun responded. Can you hold position? No choice. Jun-suk checked his wound. Not serious, but bleeding steadily. Jae-hyun, I need something else. Legal documents. Prepared immediately. What kind of documents? Dissolution papers. I'm transferring all my shares and properties to the offshore accounts we established last year. A pause. Sir, are you sure? That's your entire stake in the organization. I'm sure. Jun Suk looked back up the hill, where gunfire had stopped. They would be searching for him now. I'm walking away from it all. Tonight. Blood soaked through Jun Suk's sleeve as he crouched in the underbrush, watching the safe house. The wound wasn't deep, but it throbbed in sync with the older injury in his side. Through his binoculars, he counted 8 men searching the property. More than he'd initially thought. His phone vibrated. Jae-hyun. Team is 15 minutes out, his security chief said. Helicopter approaching from the east. Tell them to hang back until I give the signal, Jun Suk replied. I need to confirm Nia and Hannah are still secure in the panic room. He pulled up the safe house security app on his phone. The cameras were offline, cut by the intruders, but the panic room had its own system. He entered his code and saw them. Nia sitting with her arms around Hannah, who clutched her robot toy tightly. They were scared but unharmed. Jun Suk switched to the communication channel. Nia, can you hear me? Her head snapped up. Jun Suk? Where are you? Outside. Help is coming. Stay put. There are men everywhere, she whispered. They're tearing the place apart. They can't get into the panic room. Just stay quiet. Hannah's small voice came through the speaker. Are you okay, Mr. Dragon? Despite everything, Jun Suk smiled. Yes. I'm okay, Hannah. He ended the connection and dialed another number, his lawyer in Seoul. The documents are ready, he asked without preamble. Yes, sir. As requested. All assets transferred to the specified accounts. Controlling interest in the legitimate businesses divided among the partners you designated. But sir, are you certain? Execute everything. Now. It will take about an hour for all transactions to complete. Do it. As he ended the call, Jun Suk heard the distant thump of helicopter rotors. Not Jae-hyun's team, they were still 10 minutes out. This was someone else. The helicopter appeared over the hillside, sleek and black, no markings. It hovered above the safe house for a moment, then descended to the flat portion of the yard. Through his binoculars, Jun Suk watched a familiar figure exit the helicopter. Min-ho. His former right-hand man strode confidently toward the house, flanked by 2 guards. He spoke into a radio, gesturing toward the surrounding property. They were looking for him. Jun Suk checked his gun. 1 magazine, 9 rounds. Not enough for a direct confrontation. But maybe enough for what he needed. He sent a quick message to Jae-hyun, target has arrived. Proceed with extraction plan B. The response came immediately, understood. ETA 8 minutes. Jun Suk tucked the phone away and began moving through the brush, circling toward the back of the property. The pain in his side slowed him down, but adrenaline kept him focused. He reached the pool area undetected. From here, he could see into the house through the shattered sliding glass doors. Men were systematically searching each room. Min-ho stood in the center of the living room, directing the operation. Find the panic room, Min-ho ordered. It has to be here somewhere. One of the men approached him. Sir, we found blood on the garage floor. He must have been injured when he escaped. He won't get far. Min-ho checked his watch. Keep searching. The child is all that matters. Jun Suk had heard enough. He retreated back into the cover of the landscaping, circling toward the front of the property. The helicopter sat unguarded except for the pilot, its rotors still turning slowly. An opportunity. Moving quickly, staying low, Jun-suk approached the helicopter from behind. The pilot was focused on his instruments, unaware of the danger until Jun-suk pressed the gun against the back of his head. "Out," he ordered. The pilot raised his hands slowly, then climbed out of the cockpit. "Walk. That way." Jun-suk pointed toward the brush. "Don't look back." Once the pilot was gone, Jun-suk climbed into the helicopter. He'd learned to fly years ago, a skill his father insisted on. Now it would help him save his family. The helicopter's radio crackled to life. "Kim, what's your status?" "We're ready for extraction." Jun-suk ignored it, running through the pre-flight checks quickly. The helicopter lifted off just as one of Min-ho's men spotted him and raised the alarm. Gunfire erupted from below, bullets pinging harmlessly off the helicopter's armored underside. Jun-suk banked hard, circling once over the property before bringing the helicopter to hover directly above the safe house. Through the cockpit window, he could see Min-ho in the yard, shouting into his radio. Their eyes met briefly before Jun-suk pushed the helicopter higher. His phone rang. "Jae-hyun. We're in position," his security chief said. "East perimeter." "Change of plans," Jun-suk replied. "I've acquired air transport. Meet at extraction point C in 4 minutes." He maneuvered the helicopter away from the property, flying low over the Hollywood Hills to avoid radar. Below, he could see Jae-hyun's team, 4 black SUVs moving into position around the safe house. The extraction point was a small clearing in Runyon Canyon Park. Jun-suk set the helicopter down, wincing as the movement pulled at his injuries. 3 minutes later, the first SUV arrived. Jae-hyun jumped out, followed by 4 armed men. "Perimeter secured," Jae-hyun reported. "Min-ho's men are contained at the house." "The panic room?" "Our team is extracting them now." ETA 2 minutes. Jun-suk nodded, leaning against the helicopter to steady himself. Blood had soaked through his makeshift bandage, but there wasn't time to address it. "Sir," Jae-hyun said, studying him with concern, "you need medical attention." Later. Jun-suk straightened as the second SUV pulled into the clearing. "Is it done? The transfers?" "Yes. As of 20 minutes ago, you no longer control any part of the Jumseong syndicate. All assets have been moved to the secure accounts." "And Min-ho?" "He's been legally removed from all positions. But he still has the family seal and the documents claiming the child." The third SUV appeared, driving quickly into the clearing. It stopped, and the back door opened. Nia emerged, clutching Hannah tightly to her chest. When she saw Jun-suk, relief washed over her face. She ran to him, Hannah still in her arms. "You're bleeding again," she said, noticing his arm. "It's nothing." He touched Hannah's hair gently. "Are you okay?" The little girl nodded solemnly. "The bad men were looking for us, but they couldn't find our hiding place." "That's right. You were very brave." Jae-hyun approached. "Sir, we need to move. Min-ho's backup will be here soon." Jun-suk nodded. "Get them on the helicopter. We leave in 2 minutes." As Jae-hyun led Nia and Hannah toward the helicopter, Jun-suk turned to face the clearing entrance. The fourth SUV hadn't arrived yet. "Where's Team B?" he asked. "Still at the house, sir." They were. The sound of tires on gravel interrupted him. A black SUV sped into the clearing, skidding to a stop 20 feet away. The door opened, and Min-ho stepped out. "Alone." "That's far enough," Jun-suk said, raising his gun. Min-ho smiled thinly. "You won't shoot me. You're very confident for someone staring down the barrel of a gun." "I know you, Jun-suk. You may be the dragon of soul, but you've never been the one to pull the trigger." Min-ho took a step forward. "Always delegating the dirty work." People change. Not that much. Minho glanced toward the helicopter where Nia was helping Hannah inside. I see you found your family. How touching. It's over, Minho. I've cut all ties to the organization. The documents mean nothing now. You think it's that easy to walk away? Minho laughed. Your father prepared for this possibility. The documents don't just name the child as heir, they specifically disinherit you if you abandon your responsibilities. I don't care. You should. Because it means even without the syndicate, the Viper clan will still come for her. They want the Kong bloodline eliminated entirely. Jun-suk's grip on the gun tightened. Why are you telling me this? Minho reached slowly into his jacket. Jae-hyun and his men tensed, weapons raised. Easy, Minho said, withdrawing a small wooden box. I'm just returning something that belongs to your family. He placed the box on the ground between them. The family seal, Jun-suk realized. Your father trusted me to use it wisely. To raise his grandchild in the proper tradition. Minho straightened. But perhaps I misjudged the situation. What are you saying? I'm saying the child is clearly well protected. And perhaps your father's methods were outdated. Jun-suk studied him suspiciously. Why the sudden change of heart? Let's call it self-preservation. You've transferred everything out of my reach. The syndicate is in chaos. And I find myself suddenly vulnerable. Minho gestured to the seal. Consider it a parting gift. Destroy it. Keep it. I don't care anymore. And the documents? Are just paper without the seal. Minho backed toward his SUV. We're done here, Jun-suk. But remember, the Viper clan won't give up so easily. They want all Kangs dead. Including you, if you're still claiming to represent us. Minho smiled grimly. Precisely why I'm leaving the country tonight. He opened the car door. For what it's worth, I never intended harm to the child. Only to fulfill your father's wishes. And that makes it better? No. But it's the truth. Minho paused. Goodbye, dragon. I doubt we'll meet again. The SUV pulled away, leaving the wooden box in the dirt. Jun-suk approached it cautiously, picking it up. Inside lay the Kong family seal, a carved jade stamp that had authorized the family's business for generations. Sir, Jae-hyun called. We need to go. Now. Jun-suk tucked the box into his jacket and returned to the helicopter. Inside, Nia had already buckled Hannah into a seat and was waiting anxiously. Was that him? She asked as Jun-suk climbed in. The man who betrayed you? Yes. But it's handled. He nodded to Jae-hyun. Take us to the airport. The jet should be ready. As the helicopter lifted off, Jun-suk finally allowed himself to feel the full weight of his injuries. He slumped in the seat, exhaustion washing over him. Nia moved to his side, examining his wounded arm. This needs stitches. Later. She ignored him, pulling a first aid kit from under the seat and setting to work. Her hands were gentle but efficient as she cleaned and bandaged the wound. Where are we going? She asked quietly. Somewhere safe. I have a property in Vancouver. Completely off the records. And then what? Jun-suk met her eyes. Then we start over. If that's what you want. Before she could answer, Hannah's small voice interrupted them. Are you really the dragon from my stories? The question hung in the air between them. Jun-suk looked at the child, his daughter, and saw only innocent curiosity in her eyes. None of the fear or judgment he expected. Yes, he said finally. I am. Then why did Mommy say you were far away? You're right here. Jun-suk glanced at Nia, who nodded slightly. I was far away, he said carefully. For a long time. But I'm here now. Hannah considered this, her small face serious. Are you going to stay with us? Or go away again? I want to stay. If that's okay with you. She nodded solemnly. It's okay. Mommy misses you when you're gone. She looks at your pictures and gets sad. Nia flushed, avoiding his gaze as she finished bandaging his arm. Hannah, she said gently. There's something I need to tell you about Mr. Jun-suk. What? Nia took a deep breath. He's not just the dragon from our stories. He's your daddy. Hannah's eyes widened. She stared at Jun-suk, then at her mother, then back at Jun-suk. Really? She whispered. Really, Jun-suk confirmed, his throat tight. Hannah unbuckled her seatbelt and climbed into the seat next to him. She studied his face with the intense focus only a child could manage. Your eyes are like mine, she said finally. Mommy says I have dragon eyes. That's right. She reached out hesitantly and touched his hand. Can I call you Daddy? The simple question nearly undid him. 5 years of hatred and anger, washed away by 4 small words from a child who didn't know how much weight they carried. I would like that very much, he managed. Hannah smiled and, without warning, threw her arms around his neck. I knew you'd find us someday, Daddy. Jun-suk held her carefully, mindful of his injuries but unwilling to let go. Over her head, his eyes met Nia's. There were tears on her cheeks, but she was smiling. 3 months later. The house in Vancouver sat on a quiet street, overlooking English Bay. Large windows filled the space with natural light, illuminating the children's toys scattered across the living room floor. Jun-suk stood at the kitchen counter, making coffee. His side had healed completely, though the scar remained, a permanent reminder of the day his life changed. Nia entered from the back patio, carrying a basket of laundry. Hannah wants you to take her to the park later. The one with the big slide? Of course. Is there any other park in her world? He smiled, pouring 2 cups of coffee. They had fallen into a comfortable routine over the past months. Not quite the family he'd once imagined, but something real. Something honest. Any word from Jaehyun? Nia asked, setting the laundry aside. The Viper clan has gone quiet. Minho was found in Singapore last week. Dead? No. Just monitored. Nia accepted the coffee he offered. Do you miss it? The power? The control? No. The answer came easily, surprising even him. I thought I would, but I don't. They moved to the patio, watching as Hannah played in the small backyard, her imagination turning a simple swing set into a dragon's castle. I spoke with a lawyer yesterday, Jun-suk said. About formalizing my parental rights. If that's okay with you. Nia studied him for a moment. Are you sure that's wise? It creates a paper trail. We can't live in the shadows forever. Hannah deserves a normal life. School. Friends. A real home. Is that what you want too? Normal? He considered the question. For years, normal had seemed boring. Beneath him. Now it felt like a precious gift. I want what I have right here, he said simply. Nia's hand found his on the table, her fingers intertwining with his. They weren't back to where they had been 5 years ago. Maybe they never would be. But they were building something new. Something stronger. Daddy. Watch me. Hannah called from the yard, preparing to jump from the swing. I'm watching, he called back. As Hannah launched herself through the air, laughing with pure joy, Jun-suk felt a peace he'd never known in Seoul. The dragon of Seoul was gone. In his place was simply Jun-suk. Father. partner, protector. He knew the danger wasn't over completely. Somewhere, the Viper clan was regrouping. Minho might still harbor resentments. The shadows of his father's legacy would always follow them. But for now, in this moment, they were safe. They were together. And that was worth more than all the power in Seoul. We're going to be okay, aren't we? Nia asked softly. Jun-suk squeezed her hand. Yes, he said. We are. In the yard, Hannah climbed back onto the swing, ready for another adventure. Ready to fly again, confident her father would watch over her. The dragon had made his choice. That's how a man who built his life on vengeance found something worth more than power, a family. Stories like this remind us that sometimes what we think is betrayal might actually be protection, and that it's never too late to choose love over hate. If this story touched your heart today, please take a moment to smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Until next time, remember, our assumptions about others are often our biggest mistakes.